Okay, let's have a look. Okay, Assalamu alaikum wa barakatuh. I'm on the radio station. I've got about 3 or 4 cameras on me, right? And so you'll have to excuse me while I'm trying to adjust everything. Right, I'm going to be doing this show. I don't know which cameras to look at because it's flipping one over here, one over here, one over here, one over there. So if I look straight ahead, no, look straight, that's strange. If I look at this one, you know what, I'll give up. I'm going to talk to all 4 cameras. Okay, basically, I'm going to do this radio station once a week, hopefully on a Friday between 6 and 7. It's about being British and being a Muslim, basically. I'm going to try to do it every Friday if I can. I'm getting confused with all these cameras, sorry about this. But the first one I'm going to do now, what I'm going to do is basically talk about my life, basically, what, you know, how I came about being a Muslim, about my background and stuff before. And every week I'll get a guest in here. So next week, hopefully, I'll get a guy who went to Bosnia, went to Afghanistan, and you know, was involved in, you know, fighting and stuff like that. So basically I'm going to get him in next week to talk about his life and how he's changed his life all around now. Basically he's preaches now and goes around schools and campuses and stuff, talks about the dangers of extremism. So he'll be here next week, inshallah. I've been told to look straight ahead. This way? Yeah, okay, I'm going to look straight ahead. So next week, Friday, hopefully at round about this time, I'm going to have someone called Shai Butt on. I think he just messed with me by the looks of it. I can't really, yeah, I think he did. So next Friday, he's going to be here between 6 and 7, inshallah, to talk about his life and what he did and how he's, you know, goes around preaching the good preach, you know, preaching the good talk. But today, what I'm going to do now is talk about myself and how I came about, become, how, you know, I changed my life and stuff like that. So basically, yes, I'm looking straight, good, great. Basically, I was born in Leicester. I'm not going to say which year because I'll give away my age. It's a long time ago when what was her name? Twiggy was on the, you know, on the music scene, so you know how long that ago. And the Beatles were quite popular at the time, so I was born in that sort of era, which was a long time ago. I was born in Leicester in Highfields. I grew up in Highfields, which was like an area full of sort of black, Asian, and Irish. It was quite a multicultural area at the time, and. My parents came from Pakistan and Afghanistan, retrospectively. I mean, my dad came here in 1958, and so I'm putting my hand on my mouth. I've been told off because it's live. I've never done live before, so please forgive me. You know, it's a bit tough doing it live. I mean, yeah. So I'm gonna stop putting my hand on my mouth. Thank you very much, Shahid. Basically, my dad came here in 1958. He was in the Pakistani Navy. And he went all around the world. He went to the Far East, and he went to the Americas and stuff. And we're actually doing great. Okay, thanks, Shai. You're killing me, bro. Anyway, basically he was in the Pakistani Navy. Oh, someone's ringing me on my phone now. Typical. And basically he was in the Pakistani Navy, and he came here in 1950, and he saw Britain. And he thought, wow, this place is fantastic. There was 5-6 of them. So what he did was he jumped boat, and he did a runner. And in those days, if you can manage by yourself without any handouts from the government, or you get yourself a job and you can find yourself, you know, your own accommodation, the government will give you a passport after, say, you know, 5 years. So my dad was here from 1958 to 1963-64, and basically what he did was the government gave him a passport, British passport. Cheers then. So basically what he did was a year later in 64 he went back to Pakistan, where he met my mother. Now my mother, he was looking for a wife, so he met my mother. My mother's story is a bit, I don't want to be proud of what her grandfather did, but I'll tell you anyway. Basically, they used to live in a place called Ada, which is in Jalalabad. And my mother's grandfather was a paid assassin. And basically what he did was kill people for money. Not a great job. I mean, I don't recommend it to anybody. But basically, he used to pay people used to pay him for money. Used to pay him to kill people for money. So he must have killed about 20 odd people in his career. I wouldn't even call it a career actually, but he killed about 20 odd people. And basically what he did was, the last person he killed was from a very wealthy family. And basically what happened was, he was sitting in a what they're called, it was like a cafe. He was sitting there drinking a cup of tea. This is one of the stories before I tell you what happened. One of the stories he did was he was sitting in a cafeteria, and some bloke came in to basically kill him. He was drinking a cup of tea. He lifted up his finger, shot the guy dead, and carried on drinking his tea. The guy was on the floor dead. The last Vic, that's what he was like. He was very, very sort of ruthless. So the last person he killed was from a wealthy family. And basically, in our culture, in our tradition, being Pathans, if you kill one person, you have to go back and kill another person. It's like tit for tat. So the person that he killed was from a wealthy family. I've said that about 5 times now. You can see how nervous I am. And they put a hit on my mum's family. She was about 2 years old then. And so in the middle of the night, my grandfather, my mother's father, with his father and all the family, just packed their bags and left. They were quite a wealthy family. You know, well, not wealthy, but they was okay. They got by and they had a nice little house and a bit of land. So basically, they had to do a runner in the middle of the night because their lives were in danger from this wealthy family. And then, you know, so they're going to run over the border to Peshawar, which is in northwest frontier, which is like, in those days, it was like a bandit country, if you want to call it, like Wild Wild West. You know, you see on the cowboy films, big moustaches and guns, that's what it was like, and big beards. So basically, she fled to Peshawar, and they wasn't very well off. There was, you know, they lost everything. So my dad met her. He brought her over in 1964, and she came here to a strange country, and she was relatively young, about 17, 18 years old, and everything was new. Britain was a completely different place. She had no family here, just my father. My father had no family here, neither, so just those two together. So she came in 1960, late 64 she came over, and or was it late 65, early 65 I think she came over, and you have to excuse my hat, I'll take it off now, leave it on. And yeah, basically then I came along about a year, I'm not going to say when, I came over in the 60s. I was born in the 60s, sorry. I was born in the 60s. Anyway, I know Peshawar is part of Pakistan, it's called Sarhad. Yes, I know it is. Don't tell me that. Anyway, so she came over, and then I came along. Then I had 4 more siblings that were born after me. So we lived in Highfields for about 6 years, I believe. In about 1970 something, early part of 70s, we moved to an English area, well, predominantly white area, which was Wixton. Now I thought I suffered a lot of racism there, but I didn't. You know what? The area was quite a nice area, because don't forget, when my parents first came over to this country, there was a lot of racism. Loads of it, because you know you had people like Enoch Powell with his Rivers of Blood speech. He was basically preaching that there will be sort of basically he was saying, okay, too much basically, thank you. I'm very nervous, you know, you have to give me a break here, 'cause I've never done this live. Okay, I'm going to stop saying basically. Can I say something else basically? Okay, anyway, I'll say anyway instead. Anyway, Enoch Powell was preaching this sort of hate preach, saying that immigrants are coming over, they're taking over the jobs, they're reaping the benefit system, you know, doing all these sort of negative things that we see now. Same sort of language that was used then is being used now. So Enoch Powell was really sort of getting this sort of thing about immigrants, they're going to take over the country. So there was a lot of racism about it. It's not the fault of the Englishman, because whatever they read and whatever they hear from the politicians, they think it's the gospel. Well, most do, because that's how it was. I mean, the media got headlines saying immigrants swamp country, you know, swamps countries and taking over jobs. There's going to be a lot of hatred. So in Leicester, we had to grow up with all that hatred. And I thought Wixton would be like a kind of racist area, but it was a really nice area. I mean, the people are very, very nice. I couldn't believe it. So I grew up in for about, so about 5 years I was in Wixton, and it was lovely. I loved it. You know, the people welcomed me. I was well liked at school. It was great. I mean, it was fantastic. Then my parents decided to move out of Wixton and go to sort of another new area, which was called Rushmead. Now, Rushmead was like very multicultural at the time. You had English folk there, Irish folk there, you know, West Indian folk there, Jamaican folk, Asian folk. Yeah, Walaikum Salam. And basically, so we lived in the late 70s and moved to Rushmead. Now, Rushmead, like I say, was a mixture of areas, and I'm thinking all these messages, I can't catch up with it, flipping it, doing this live thing, right? It's really, really sort of, you know, difficult, because I'm getting messages on this one, and on this one, and I can't keep it up. It's overload. Get out of my area, you brown toast. Yes, I'm in your area now. I'm going to take over your area. Anyway, yeah. So we lived in Rushmead for most of my teenage years. I was in Rushmead. From my early teens, well, from about 10 years old till about till about mid-20s. I was living there. Now Rushmead is a completely different area. We used to have gang fights there. I mean, there was a lot of racism in Rushmead as well. So we had like a little Asian gang. And we didn't have a name at the time. We were just a little bunch of Indians and Asians, skinny little butchins, as you want to call it, greasy hair, skinny, badly dressed, flares, big collars, and we had like a gang of other lads who were predominantly white, with the odd, the odd black lad. And men can't multitask. No, we can't multitask. It's so hard. It's Santa. Yes, of course it is. Well, I'm not going to cover my mouth. I've been told off about that. Okay, this is difficult. I don't know how people do this live Facebook stuff. I can't do it, it's a killer. Anyway, I've got to take my hat off, I'm getting hot. Oh, now my head's shiny. Oh, bloody hell, I can't win. Anyway, sorry about that language. Anyway, yes, where was I? I'm waffling. Yes, I'm waffling, I can't help it. Riaz Trump, what are you on about? Oh, God. Anyway, yes, so we was like a little gang of butchins. Butchin, okay, those who don't know what butchins are, Amita Butchin was a famous Indian actor. He used to have big collars and big flares. He was really skinny and tall. He used to fight like a, dash, dash, dash. That's what we was like. And basically, so we had little gangs about. Me and my brother, Mash. There's about 6 of us. We used to get battered. We used to get chased by everybody because we weren't into fighting and stuff. We just wanted to play and have fun. And we got battered by loads of people. Not battered, we used to get chased by loads of people. Couldn't catch us because we were fast. We was like flipping Olympic runners, skinny and fast, and on bikes. And we used to get skinners from other areas coming to Rushmead and, starting on us basically. So my dad got a bit, when I went to school, so anyway, I'll get to that bit in a minute. So we got a lot of racism, a lot of sort of grief and a lot of, aggro. So, so I went to a school which was called Rushmead School. Now, Rushmead was quite a good school because you had different ethnicities in the school. It was like a salad bowl, not a melting pot, because everybody had their own individual sort of cultures, but it was like a salad bowl. Everybody sort of belonged to one place. And I didn't suffer any racism there. There was the odd bit, but it was very, very minimal. When my dad took me out of this school, Rushmead, because he thought the education was really sort of below standard, but it wasn't. It was fantastic. I mean, I was getting merits and I was excelling myself. I was doing really well. So he took me out of that school and took me to a school called Rounder, which was in Thurmaston. And now, Thurmaston in those days, we're talking about the late 70s now. Late 70s, early 80s. Thurmaston was predominantly white. And it was very right-wing in those days, which I don't blame them for because, the rise of the National Front and, National Front was massive then. It was a huge, had a huge following. So basically, I got bullied. I got teased for being an Asian. I got teased from the way I dressed. I mean, look at the way I'm dressed now. I've gone traditional today because I'm on this radio. Munadil, I don't even know how to pronounce it. So I've come a bit traditional today. I thought I'd just play the part instead of coming casual. So, so I got a lot of bullying, a lot of teasing, a lot of bullying. Called this. I got called the N-word. I got called the P-word, which is, I used to get called, black this, black that. I used to get called all kinds of names, and I got teased, a lot of teasing, and I couldn't handle it. It was really sort of, demoralising. It was really sort of, it made you feel. I started hating who I was. I started hating my culture. I started hating my colour. I started hating my, my religion and stuff. I'll go back to my religion in a minute. So, I just started hating. I was thinking, why the hell am I an Asian? Why was I born Asian? I know it sounds daft, but that's how it was. I mean, if you're the only Asian lad, or me and my brother, the only Asian lads in the whole school, I'm talking about 2,000 kids. Well, round it wasn't 2,000, it was about, say, 600 kids maybe. And you're the only 2 Asians in the whole school, imagine how you feel. You're going to get, you're going to hate being... So I started adapting to my environment. I started becoming English, if you want to call it that, or, I started assimilating. I wasn't integrating, I was assimilating. So I completely sort of